Good morning and welcome to Newsline. I'm Cholapansa Narula. Thank you very much for joining us. It's Wednesday's edition, June 29th of 2016. Here's a look at today's news. In Thailand moves forward, Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha has reiterated that high-ranking attorneys in Samut Sakhon province have been transferred for the sake of transparency in the investigation in which they are implicated. He affirmed that they had not yet been found guilty. The Prime Minister said on Tuesday that the transfer of both the Nathawi attorney and the deputy attorney of Samut Sakhon did not mean that they were guilty. The two officials were transferred due to slow performance. General Prayut added that he had used Section 44 to authorize the transfer, saying the problem of human trafficking impacts the country as a whole. Minister of Justice General Phaiboon Khumchaya said the transfer was in line with the proceedings of the government. The minister explained that some of the officials who had been transferred were not guilty of corruption but had failed to follow government policy. Deputy spokesperson of the Office of the Attorney General, Prayut Phetkun, said the office had set up a panel to interrogate the three officials from Samut Sakhon who had been transferred. The Prime Minister is not worried about the upcoming public referendum, even as the Constitutional Court continues to review a clause in the referendum law which may be in violation of the interim charter. Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha said that other parts of the Public Referendum Act remain valid and will allow the referendum process to take place regardless of the Constitutional Court's ruling. The Office of the Ombudsman has previously requested the Court's verdict on Section 61, Paragraph 2 of the Public Referendum Act, which it alleges could be in violation of the 2014 interim constitution. General Prayut added that there will also be no need for him to invoke Section 44 of the interim charter to pass any new law to order the public referendum on the new draft constitution. When asked what should happen if the draft charter does not pass the referendum, the Prime Minister said only that such a decision is up to the people, but the government has planned for that contingency. An amendment of the Public Referendum Act will be needed if the Constitutional Court rules to annul the contentious clause, according to the first Vice President of the National Legislative Assembly, or NLA. NLA's first Vice President Surathai Liengbunlerchai said that if the Constitutional Court's review of a clause in the 2016 Public Referendum Act concludes that it violates the interim charter, the referendum process will simply go on as planned on August 7th. However, Mr. Surathai noted that such a verdict will require the Election Commission to decide if it will propose an amended version of the public referendum law. The NLA Vice President said the EC is responsible for proposing the law and matters related to the referendum. If the EC is confident that the referendum will run smoothly, then Mr. Surathai believed there will be no need for the amendment. The Cabinet has approved a bill on the rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents while acknowledging progress of the policy to promote extracurricular activities in school.
Assistant Government spokesperson Colonel Athisit Chainuwat made known that the Cabinet agreed during its weekly meeting to the proposed bill on the rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents. The draft law is intended to allow young offenders to learn from their mistakes while in custody before returning to society. Colonel Athisit said there are currently no agencies directly responsible for rehabilitation at juvenile detention centres. The bill seeks to establish a committee chaired by the Justice Minister with a mandate to solve the juvenile delinquency problem, rehabilitate young offenders and enforce the law in a more effective manner. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education reported to the Cabinet on the project to reduce class time and increase extracurricular activities in school. The ministry said students who are involved in extracurricular activities have become more generous and united, while many have discovered their hidden interests and talents. Students of participating schools have also scored higher on O-NET exams than those of other schools.
To the NISA, the Deputy Speaker of National Reform Steering Assembly has confirmed that the reform body has held meetings with political parties to hear their feedback on the reform effort. Deputy Speaker of NISA, Alongkorn Pulabut, spoke in response to news reports alleging that the NISA has been meeting with political parties for lobbying purposes. He denied the claims and gave assurance that the meetings were to report on the progress of reforms and listen to their suggestions. He confirmed that the NISA's work focuses only on reform and does not take political sides. Apart from meeting with the Democrat and Pheu Thai parties, Mr. Alongkorn said the NISA will also invite other political parties to hear the NISA's report in Parliament. The NISA Deputy Speaker also mentioned that a leading Pheu Thai party figure, Kun Ying Sudarat Kiriyapan, had recently held meetings with other political parties. Mr. Alongkorn said that although the NISA did not initiate the party-to-party talks, he was in favor of political parties coming together to discuss reconciliation and democratic development. The National Council for Peace and Order, or NCPO, has confirmed it will take care of the people and solve their problems using administrative mechanisms in a sustainable manner. The Council also instructed national security units to assist those affected by natural disasters in all areas. NCPO spokesperson Colonel Wintai Suwari on Tuesday announced the results of the NCPO's meeting, which was chaired by the NCPO Secretary General, General Thirachai Nakwanit. General Thirachai instructed NCPO officers and other relevant units to provide immediate disaster relief to those in need. The NCPO Secretary General stressed the importance of all NCPO officers performing their duties. He warned of legal action against any NCPO official acting inappropriately and using the Council's name for personal gain. As for public transportation safety, the NCPO will cooperate with local officials to ensure safety and set penalties for those who breach the Council's regulations on public transportation. The World Bank has reported a positive outlook for the Thai economy, increasing the country's GDP forecast this year to 2.5%, up from 2.2%. World Bank Country Director for Southeast Asia, Ulrich Zahau, on Tuesday announced the results of an analysis of the Thai economy this year. He said the Thai economy would likely expand by 2.5%, lower than last year by 0.3% due to global economic and export slowdowns. Thai export growth this year would come to minus 1.4%. Foreign investment will still be low due to decreasing external demand, as well as the country's political uncertainty. People in rural areas will still be affected by low agricultural prices. However, the director expressed his belief that the Thai economy would be able to withstand volatility since its economic foundation and the tourism sector was strong. Mr. Zahau also warned that there were still changes in terms of the Thai economic structure and a shrinking working population. He suggested that Thailand urgently develop its skilled laborers and deliver on policy to take care of the elderly in the long term. Meanwhile, the University of the Thai Chamber of Commerce, or UTCC, anticipates the United Kingdom's decision to leave the European Union will impede Thailand's economic growth by depressing exports. Director of the UTCC Center for Economic and Business Forecasting Center, Thanawat Ponvichai, has assessed that Brexit will negatively affect investors' confidence and draw down investment in the stock market, slowing down the world's economic recovery and ultimately impacting demand for Thai exports. Overall, the center expects Thai export growth to be minus 2% this year. He added that the situation will also keep fuel prices under $50 a barrel, keeping farm goods from moving up in price. Dr. Thanawat noted that effects from Brexit may extend to the tourism sector, further impeding the nation's overall economy. He estimated that growth during the latter half of the year would likely not exceed 3%. Revising down a previous prediction of 3.3%. The center's full-year growth prediction has been tempered to 2.9%, but it noted that state investments of 20 billion to 50 billion baht should compensate for any impacts from Brexit. The government's Public Relations Department, or PRD, has organized a trip to the provinces of Chonburi and Rayong to promote a positive image of Thailand to the world. The trip was joined by diplomats, representatives from international organizations, and correspondents from foreign news agencies, including TV Asahi, Tan Nien newspaper, The Voice of Vietnam, Danish National Broadcasting Corporation, and also GG Press. PRD Deputy Director General Jarun Chaisorn said the department has been working closely with international news agencies to foster an understanding of Thailand within the international community.
The Public Relations Department has been working at both the national and international levels. The PRD has worked in collaboration with international news agencies in a bid to broadcast insightful information about Thailand worldwide. One of the PRD's responsibilities is to take care of foreign journalists and correspondents. We usually organize activities to foster understanding between international news agencies and Thai government. And today we are hosting a trip to the provinces of Chonburi and Rayong to give an insight into the Thai economy. There will also be a seminar about Thailand's special economic zones.
A seminar under the topic of industries for the development of special economic zones along the eastern seaboard will be held to promote Thailand's economic and social development plan and a positive image of the kingdom. The Institute of Marine Science has warned residents of Bang San Beach against collecting dead fish for consumption after recent plankton blooms in the area. A survey on June 28th revealed foul-smelling dark green waters at Bang San Beach, causing tourism activity to stall. Surprisingly, no batches of dead fish have been found so far. Officials from the institute expect that water in the area will return to its normal condition within 2 weeks, while warning residents against consuming any dead fish they may come across, as doing so can cause diarrhea. The Pollution Control Department is preparing to restore Kliti Stream in Kanchanaburi province after lead contamination. The project is expected to take 1,000 days and has a budget of 584 million baht. Director General of the Pollution Control Department, Wichan Simachaya, said that with a finalized budget of 584 million baht, the department has commenced with the e-bidding process, which will conclude on August 11th. After the auction, the winning bidder will be able to begin the project operations in the same month. The project includes the construction of landfills, restoring areas near the mineral processing plant, construct 2 additional lead traps, updating geographic information of the contaminated area, and also holding a public awareness campaign. That's it for Thailand Moves Forward. We'll now take a quick break. Let's have a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices. Newsline will be back with the international news in just a few moments. Stay with us.
Don't trust anyone who says, "Trust me." Who's ever earned your trust? I have a friend. He's Thai. He leads a simple life. He finds joy in simple pleasures. He's sincere. He takes to heart the Buddhism belief of using reason and doing good. He follows the King's sufficiency economy theory that advises self-reliance, living without greed and being content with what you have. He shares with others. He takes care of his foreign friends like they're part of his family, and when he's upset, he compromises. He smiles even when faced with obstacles. If you're looking for a friend, what kind of friend would you like? A friend who's ready to lend a hand. A friend that you can be yourself. A friend who smiles at you with sincerity. Trust me. Trust Thailand.
If the earth is your home, the ocean is theirs as well. Working together, the government and private sector can solve all the issues currently facing the Thai fishing industry. From legitimizing fishing operations to helping out our fellow fishermen and collaborating with international parties.
ตอนนี้ถึงเวลาแล้วนะครับที่เราจะต้องมาร่วมมือกันทำให้มันถูกต้องมันก็ต้องปรับตัวในช่วงแรกแต่ในระยะยาวมันก็คุ้มค่าถ้าไม่มีอาชีพนี้เราก็ไม่รู้จะทำอะไรกันแล้วผมก็พร้อมครับที่จะเป็นส่วนหนึ่งในการแก้ปัญหา
Trust in Thailand for a sustainable Thai fishing industry.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. The Deputy Prime Minister for Economy has stated to the Chinese private sector that Thailand is undergoing major structural changes, both in its economy and politics, to foster a better environment for foreign investment. Deputy Prime Minister Somkit Jatusipitak visited the People's Republic of China and gave a speech at Tsinghua University on changing circumstances in Thailand. In his address to a gathering of 20 startup businesses assembled by Touch Holdings, Dr. Somkit said Thailand is restructuring its politics and economy to be more investment-friendly, while noting that enhanced ties with the ASEAN Plus 6 collective and the recent decision by the United Kingdom to leave the European Union have made the kingdom especially conducive to business. The Deputy Prime Minister elaborated that Brexit has shifted economic activity towards Asia, creating new opportunities for growth. He noted that average annual growth in ASEAN has remained at 6 to 8%, even during times of recession around the world. On changes to take place in Thailand, Dr. Somkit pointed out that the national economy will shift to one of innovation and value-added products. He invited Chinese investors to Thailand by promising incentives and assistance from the government. The Public Relations Department and Thammasat University held an English program camp for executives to develop their English skills at Sida Resort in Nakhon Nayok Province. Our correspondent Kun Pimchanok Ratanapised has the details.
English is a crucial working language for ASEAN, which people widely use for communication. It is also utilized for cultural exchanges and a tool to learn through diversity. The Public Relations Department also realizes the importance of English, so it initiates the English training course for its officials at all levels in order to develop English literacy corresponding with the Prime Minister's aim to elevate capacity of the civil servants. The English program content is categorized to conversation for daily lives, communication, and business. English camp for administrators of the Government Public Relations Department was specially held in collaboration with Thammasat University. Activities for officials were mainly focusing on readiness for introduction, inauguration speech, and international conference. Mr. Aphinan Jantarangsi, Director General of the Public Relations Department, also stressed the importance of English to NBT World.
การฝึกอบรมภาษาอังกฤษให้กับเจ้าหน้าที่ข้าราชการของกรมประชาสัมพันธ์
The Public Relations Department's objective is to develop official capability in English skill, starting with easy level. This program would be a great foundation for communication with internal and foreign sector, since our role is concentrating on communication not only in Thailand but also abroad, and preparing readiness for government officials to work efficiently in ASEAN community and globalization era.
Moreover, Rosetta Stone is a practicing application which officials can use easily for learning through social media, technology, and smartphones anytime at their convenience, so that the ability could be developed constantly. The application is accurate and clearly categorized due to placement taste. It also could correct your pronunciation and improve the skills for readiness to ASEAN community. Camera work by Pakorn Vimunka and Pimchanok Ratanapisate for NBT World.
Three suicide bombers opened fire before blowing themselves up at the entrance to the main international airport in Istanbul, killing at least 32 people and wounding dozens more. A Turkish official reported that police fired shots to try to stop two of the attackers just before they reached a security checkpoint at the arrivals hall at Atatürk Airport, Europe's third busiest, but they blew themselves up. Istanbul Governor Vasip Sahin told reporters that at least 32 people had been killed and around 147 wounded. Several witnesses reported 2 explosions, but the governor said authorities believe there have been 3 suicide bombers. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack, the latest in a string of suicide bombings this year. But the Dogan news agency said initial indications suggested Islamic State may have been responsible, citing police sources. A Turkish official said it was too soon to assign blame. The attack bore some similarities to a suicide bombing by IS militants at Brussels airport in March, which killed 16 people. A coordinated attack also targeted a rush-hour metro train, killing a further 16 people in the Belgian capital. There are no reports of Thai nationals being injured or killed in the incident. Italy and the Netherlands proposed on Tuesday splitting a 2-year term on the United Nations Security Council after the UN General Assembly was deadlocked on which to choose following 5 rounds of voting for the final 2017 to 2018 seat. The 193-member General Assembly elected Sweden, Kazakhstan, Ethiopia and Bolivia on Tuesday to replace Angola, Malaysia, New Zealand, Spain and Venezuela on the Council from January 1, 2017. The Netherlands and Italy were tied with 95 votes each. Countries need more than 2/3 of the vote to win a seat. Italy and the Netherlands are competing for a seat belonging to the Western European and Others regional group, which is due to meet on Wednesday to approve splitting the term. The General Assembly would then need to vote in favour of the action. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. Thank you very much for joining us today. We end the program saying goodbye with the unveiling of Lionel Messi's statue in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm Chalapan Sanarula. Have a great day. Sawasdee ka.